Just 30. Good. This video is the eight eight things I want to see in Volume 8 of RWBY. Say, Volume 8, 8 things. I want to make two things clear. This video, why I put it off for so long, I was hoping to do a collaboration with somebody, but with the whole virus thing and lots of people got a lot of stuff going on in their personal life now, the collaboration just couldn't happen. It was timing, three people who live in different time zones, and they do a lot of video editing and everything. It just didn't happen. Secondly, this is what I want, not what I think will happen. Big difference there. Do I think any of this is gonna happen on in Volume 8? God no. I'm not giving Kruby the credit of, or the writers credit to go this dark, and like, to be honest, the way I want this to go, if anyone who's a RWBY fan has the perception that Volume 3 was dark, no, it's not really. What I'm going for, a lot of inspiration that I got from different places. I've got inspiration from Attack on Titan. I've got inspiration from Hellsing. If this is going to be the fall of Atlas, it has to be darker than the fall of Beacon. This the girls have had time to grow up. Ruby's in a leadership role. Responsibility has to be a key point going forward. Consequences for one's actions. And I've written them all here. So please note, number one that I'm about to go into, it kind of counteracts the rest of them. The rest of them can all fit into how I would write Volume 8. Number one, there's one thing that's going to fuck up. And number one is redeem Watts by hacking Penny, forcing Ruby to kill her friend. My main reason for this is, by the time Volume 7 ended, you remember back in Volume 5, leading into Volume 5 with Hazel, where leading up to it, everyone's like, oh shit, Hazel's gonna be this big friggin' monster, he's gonna be this huge threat, and then by the time Volume 5 was done, you were just like, he's not a fucking threat. He's shit. And his backstory's even dumber than he is as a threat. It was a big letdown, and then he's just gone off to be the stepfather of bloody Merc and Emerald, and I'm just like, wow, you just basically ruined the Hulk of the team. What has the same problem in Volume 7 is that leading into it, you think this guy's capable of amazing feats as a hacker. And then by the end, when you actually sit down and realize that this arsehole didn't hack anything because he basically had the login credentials to the system. Instead of hacking into the system that apparently he created, he had to go to Jacques and go, hey dude, can I have your username and password? Thanks. And then he just used someone else's username and password, which was handed to him. That's not hacking. At this point, he was just turning on and off systems that he had a system that he had access to through someone else. And I reckon that really hurts his threatening persona. So, and I'm not a big fan of Penny. I saw it in an art piece somewhere that, Penny's been damaged. She's got like one green eye, one red eye. And she's just been damaged to shit, and her and Ruby are like laying down on the ground facing each other exhausted, and Penny's just, she's switching between like evil, like, oh, must terminate target, and then she says something friendly like, end it Ruby please. And I just thought, it would be a very powerful moment because in Volume 3 she had to watch Penny die, whereas this situation she has to put down Penny for the rest of the world. Um, what's the problem with this situation is if this was to happen, ideally this would turn Ruby into a maiden. You do know that the last thought in Penny's head is gonna be Ruby and the maiden powers go, yeah. And that, although I want that to happen, it's problematic because I can't see Ruby becoming a maiden. Truthfully, I think none of the four main girls should become maidens at any point in the story. It would hurt the story a bit more. The maidens being wild cards, people they have to talk to and get onto their side. I find that more fascinating than just turning the four main characters into friggin' maidens, and then it's just stupid. In all honesty, trying to think where to go next. I won't tell you what numbers there are. We'll go down to that one. Weiss's Knight. This is a scene I really want because as far as we've seen, she can manipulate the size of the knight to varying degrees. And what's it limited to is basically her own aura reserves. It's said somewhere that out of the four girls, Weiss has the least aura reserves. That's why she has to be picky with what abilities she does use. It's a way of limiting her from spamming her abilities. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had like this Godzilla kaiju monster battle where Jean boosts Weiss' aura insanely with his own, and she summons the knight to insane heights that we see a giant ass knight versus the Grim Whale fighting each other. And this can be Weiss essentially defending Atlas, despite all its flaws, despite her father, her not agreeing with Ironwood, it's still her home and she'll defend it. This is a good way of redeeming her family's name and honor if she goes to these lengths to try to protect not only Mantle but Atlas in general. She's just trying to protect her home, and she does it with the giant knight that can be like like if you got Mantle, if the buildings go up to here and this knight is like up here with a giant ass sword fighting the whale. I just thought that would be friggin' amazing to see. And it wouldn't require much animation in terms of, really fast movements. This would be the kind of slow versus slow shit. Just epic moment, and it could go for like a minute or two. Just a minute or two. Like, if you've seen Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki, which was both in the Boruto movie and the Boruto series, most of the scene is very fast and rapid, but the moment they turn into the giant Kurama with the Susanoo armor, that scene only lasts a short time. But it hits home that we got to see this massive epic battle. And I thought that's something you could see. It's pretty simple. Getting into the darker stuff. Oh no, before I go into that, this is something I want in the first episode of Volume 8, Episode 1. I want Ironwood to contact Ruby on her scroll. He's in a shitty mood right now, okay? And just tell her something like, as a leader of this country, I was willing to shoulder the burden and claim the responsibility of sacrificing half the lives of this continent. Like, say something like, I was born here, I'm an Atlesian, and I was willing to kill or let die half of the population so that we could save the world. I was willing to shoulder that burden because that's the responsibility and consequences of my actions. But you, Miss Rose, you have changed everything. You decided this new future, you and your friends. So going forward, every civilian, every member of the military, every huntsman, every person on Solaris, which is the continent of Atlas, that dies going forward is on you, Miss Rose. You and your friends made this situation. Our military will do the best to fight it, but in the end, you caused it, and everyone that dies is on you. This has to be said. Because honestly, if Team Ruby Jr. and all of that, if they walk away from the Atlas arc on the way to Vacchio, and they don't feel any responsibility towards every bad thing that happens there, the show's, you lose it. You lose it. Because you realise there's no consequences for these 4 girls. This is a big thing for one leader of one generation telling the leader of a new generation. You gotta, in terms, I know she's a woman, but in terms of man up, accept responsibility. You created this situation. Everyone that dies from here on forward is on you. That's a big thing I want to happen. Quickly, we're getting into death territory. I have 5 deaths that I want to actually happen. In terms of... a lot of this has to do with Salem as well, which is good. I want Salem to feel powerful. By the time Volume 8's over, and hopefully with the fall of Atlas, it's kind of like a victory for Salem. Look at it this way. In Naruto, there's Madara Uchiha. The moment he showed up, everyone's like, fuck, we're fucked. And they proved it. He fucked the entire universe. In Bleach, there's Sasuke Aizen. Moment he shows up, you're fucked. It's that simple. There is no, we're gonna survive this. There's, you're fucked. Salem has to have this same presence, where it's just like, by the time this season's over, they lost Atlas, and you just realise this shit is much harder than we thought it was going to be. Like, we knew it was going to be impossible to deal with her, but she just screwed us. And that's where I'm going with this, going forward. 1, Crow has to die. I'm sorry, his character is pointless at this point. I hate Crow. It's weird that I even own a jacket of his original design, somewhere around here. I liked him that much. And it had nothing to do with Vic. I just liked a badass, drunken character who didn't give a shit about anything, but could still get shit done in battle. And they've turned him into this arsehole. Like, not even in Naruto did Kakashi still somehow worked with Naruto. Even though Naruto, Sasuke and all that got stronger than him, he still was able to offer advice. He was still able to fight alongside of him. I do not understand how Ruby works, where they need to, in order to make the girls look strong, they make the older people just look fucking retarded. That's like their writing style. In order to make someone look strong, we have to make someone else look like a fucking retard. And it's pathetic. So, in this instance, I want Crow to die in front of Ruby. This is going to be a combination of 2 of my points. He dies in front of Ruby, and if possible, because it's Ruby's fault. Because if you remember back in Volume 4, she put herself in danger by getting involved in the Crow vs. Tyrion fight. Crow clearly said, stay away, let my bad luck semblance work its charm in battle, and I should have the advantage over Tyrion. She got involved, the bad luck affected her just like it affected Tyrion, and it screwed up the battle. Second time's a charm, I'm hoping. I'm hoping Ruby does something. Maybe she goes up against Salem or something. She goes to meet him, and just as she's about to get slaughtered, Crow jumps in front and takes the friggin' hit and dies. This goes into my next other point. In her pain, you know, she's having her whole moment, her brain's gone fuzzy, her not out of happiness and wanting to protect someone, because if you remember back to Volume 3, pain and agony triggered her silver eyes, seeing Pyrrha die. She wasn't thinking happy thoughts. She wasn't thinking, I need to protect someone. She was literally in pain, agony, and confused when her silver eyes blasted. Repeat this. Repeat this. Crow dies, her silver eyes blast Salem like in rage. Combination of pain and rage. She just like gets up, stands in front of Salem and just blasts her. I want Salem to walk through, like, all we see is bright silver white light, and you just hear Salem say something like, did you really think that would work? And then she just grabs Ruby by the head, covering her eyes, like grabbing her face, and saying something like, Miss Rose, your mother tried to use the silver eyes on me. But what you both didn't realise is I'm not just a Grimm. I'm much more than a Grimm. And that's the reason the silver eyes don't work on her, is she's not just a Grimm. She's human. She could still have a soul. It could be multiple things. It would be a perfect cliffhanger for Volume 8. She uses the silver eyes on her. It does fuck all. Salem knocks her out, and she's captured her. She's captured Ruby. Separate Ruby from the friggin' team. Let the rest of them go to fucking Vacchio, and Salem keeps Ruby for a friggin' volume. Before she makes her escape for some dumb reason. Let Salem have time to actually talk with Ruby. That could develop her character. That could be some info dumping on the past. And also, shit, Silver Eyes, you know, they can affect Grimm. You can use them in battle. You can become the ultimate Grimm Slayer. But that's not going to work on Salem. I just think, like, imagine if you get to the end of Ruby, whether it's volume 10, 12, whatever the last volume is, and imagine if Silver Eyes hitting Salem is the end game. How pathetic would that be? If anything, have Salem just shit on the power. Just like, fuck your Silver Eyes. This one is specifically from Attack on Titan. And I think it's something we all predict is going to happen. If you've watched Attack on Titan, you know the character Erwin Smith. He is my favourite character, and god damn did he go out like a badass. I'm still pissed he's dead. Fuck Armin. But if anything, Ironwood has been one of the strongest characters, despite the fact he doesn't know how to use his military for shit. But, he's gonna die. We all know it. He's not surviving Atlas. He's going down. I don't think he would want to live if Atlas and Mantle fell. I don't think he'd want to. So, if he's gonna go out, give him an epic speech like Erwin Smith would give. Erwin Smith in Attack on Titan is the king of moral speeches. The guy, he just... if you've watched reactions to Attack on Titan, he's giving a suicide speech. He's basically telling everyone, you know, we're gonna die. Everyone, there's no question. We're gonna do a suicide charge and we're all gonna die. And yet, people reacting to the scene are all like, give us a horse, we want to get on there with you. Because his speech is that powerful that it encourages people just to join him and do what he does. That's amazing type of writing to get that kind of message across. And it would be a challenge for Kruby, because I know the writing, sometimes it hits, sometimes it really does hit, other times it's just a good idea that's poorly executed. That's most of the show. Step up and make an awesome speech. You know? Do something epic. Like, the speech that Ospen gave when Oscar was falling, that whole thing, that was good. Try to harness that and give it to Ironwood when he dies. My last two points are also a combination. This is something, taking my favorite Aesop's character, Marrow, and I wanted to take two other characters in the show and give them purpose. because right now they're just pathetic side characters with OP semblances that do fuck all, and it's annoying. I hate it when shows introduce powerful characters with powerful abilities and don't know how to use them for shit. Don't know. These two characters are Goat Girl, aka her name's Fiona. They're both Merry Huntsman in this, and the one that was revealed that she's the transgender character. I don't really give a shit, and that's got nothing to do with any form of transphobia. It's just the fact that this character's gender doesn't even apply to the show. It applies to Twitter. It doesn't apply to the show. But Fiona, basically, from what the wiki has said, because I was trying to learn the limitations on her semblance, is matter absorption. She can store matter in like a pocket dimension. So it's not limited by what she can absorb, because matter is everything. Matter makes up everything. And May Marigold has invisibility over an area. Marrow, as we all know, has stay. I want them to get some Elysian ships. You've seen them, the ones that they use as transports, and have the rockets on them. Have Marrow on one, and don't show us Fiona and May on another ship. Just be like, oh, get the other people into position. Make it, who is these other people? And Marrow's on his ship, and the pilots tell themselves, no matter what, Marrow's ship must get in front of Salem, up to the top of the whale. Other pilots, if you have to sacrifice your lives or sacrifice your ships in order to get Marrow in front of Salem. That's the main goal. If you don't, we fail. So we see huge air fight of the flying gorillas and all the other stuff, and you see rockets going off everywhere. You see like a ship fly in front of Marrow's ship to get taken out as they continue on. Really aerial dynamic battle. It's going to be a lot of animation, but shit. The goal is to get Marrow, like imagine his ship gets up to the whale and then gets taken down, and he jumps out and right in front of Salem, stay. Just gets her to freeze in place. Why? By the way, this is inspiration from Dragon Ball Super. If you've seen Hit versus Jiren, Hit was described as overpowered when we first met him, but then we met Jiren, who's insanely overpowered. So they put the two together, and even though he stopped him in a different dimension of, he still powered through it, and that's what I'd like to see here to be a testament to Salem's strength. Is that even though he says stay, you see Salem like slowly start to move through it, very slowly, as if she's fighting through it, trying to get to him. And then, out of nowhere, we can't see it, no one can see it, you just hear like Fiona say, like, surprise, bitch. Say something like that, like comedy, surprise, bitch. And you just see out of nowhere behind her, because of the invisibility of May Marigold, both of them are there, and she starts sucking Salem into her pocket dimension and traps her in there. That's good teamwork. That's three characters using good teamwork because they know each other's abilities, and it's established that Fiona and May have both graduated huntsmen at the huntresses at the academy. So it's knowing what their powers are and working well together. That's one point. What leads into the next point? I'm really gonna go with, because this has two options, but I'm gonna go solely with one. I want Tyrion to somehow witness Salem getting trapped in the pocket dimension, like just disappearing in front of him, or maybe he's close by or something. I don't know. he snaps. He goes absolutely friggin' nuts in order to either, from his perception, to, if he believes Salem's dead, to avenge Salem, or if he's aware of what the semblance is or what's happened, he tries to free Salem. You know, avenge his goddess, free his goddess. So he goes in and he's attacking Marrow, Fiona, and May. And we see him with insane skill. Like, he's gone full berserk. Think back, I think, is it Volume 5? When he kills the Grim at Salem's Lair. Like, we see him going ape shit. And he eventually he kills Fiona. He gets a hit in, takes away her aura, but this is it. Not only does Fiona die, but Tyrion gets he basically dies at the kind of same time. Like, Fiona goes down, he goes down, maybe because of Marrow or May, you know, get up, or it could be like, God knows, even Robin, who knows. Someone stops Tyrion, he falls down, have Fiona die first, and as she dies, all the stuff that she's got absorbed in her pocket dimension just pops out, including Salem, and Tyrion dies after he sees Salem's free, and he says something, you know, for the goddess, or have I pleased you, you know, something like that, because that suits his character. He goes out killing Fiona and saving Salem. Now, all of these could have been done. All of these could have been done in a different thing. Like, the whole Marrow, Fiona, Tyrion shit could happen first, and then Ruby gets there late with Crow and stuff, and then Crow dies, and then Ruby flashes. You see, all of this can actually fit together, and it will tell a very dark story. Because if I count off, Fiona dies, Tyrion dies, Ironwood dies, Crow dies, and if the first one somehow happens, Penny dies. 5 major characters dying, and I think it's, well, Fiona not really that major character, but and then you take into consideration how many civilians, how many army members die, and then if the city essentially falls. Just, that's what I want to see. I know people are like, oh, you don't have to have death to make the show good, and I'm like, no, but it's a good way to get a feeling that there's no plot armor. There's no plot armor, and in all honesty, the people that have chosen to die have very good reason to die. Ironwood, I don't see him surviving beyond the Atlas arc. Crow should be dead by now. Hopefully he does die. Penny, I just don't want her as a maiden. I don't like her as a maiden. It doesn't make sense why she's a fucking maiden. She's a robot. It's stupid. Fiona is just a side character. And Tyrion, if he dies in the service of Salem, he's happy. That's the honest truth. That is the 8 things, if you see there, that I would want for Volume 8. And you don't have to take them seriously. You don't have to agree with them. You can shit on them. I don't care. These are just things I want as an individual. And as I said, I do not think any of them are actually going to happen in Volume 8. If anything, I will be shocked beyond doubt if even one of those happens in Volume 8. And the last thing and that's it. I'm not going to go beyond that. You can comment, tell me what you want, or what you think. That's all this video is going to be.